everyone, and welcome to This Week in Hospitality Digital Marketing. This is a very casually but logoed host, Lauren Gray, and show number 180. That's right, 180. And it is the last show just prior to our HSMAI Digital Marketing Conference, which is happening next week in New York City at the Marriott Marquis on the 23rd, actually. It would be on Wednesday the 23rd, which is a lot of fun. Mr. Edward St. Ange, how are you, sir?
I'm good. You cut it a little late this morning, huh?
Yeah, my wife is being put onto the HOA board, so I had to first show up to that, then make my polite excuses after she was put onto the board, and then scooch out to come back here to get fired up, and then hopefully, with you and Robert, I can make a graceful sidebar exit at a convenient opportunity to go back and get my undying support of her new role in the HOA.
All right. Well, I won't be here long either. I have a pretty crazy schedule today.
I will take whatever time I can get from you. I will always do that for it. And looks like Robert is slowly joining us to this. Mr. Robert Cole, sir.
Hello.
How are you?
How are you folks doing? I heard you speaking about not being able to stay long.
I know. Ed said that too. It might be the Robert Cole show. Do you look? I bought some T-shirts. Can you tell?
Oh, there we go.
It was last year's.
There's a swag.
Yeah, we got the logoed one. So you'll see me logo attired at the conference as well. Instead of just the polos I've always had and the one button-down shirt, I got a couple more button-down shirts. I got some T-shirts. It's an whole activewear line. I have the whole Hospitality Digital Marketing activewear line now. It's going to be great.
Very, very excited that you've branched off into Spanx and all sorts of interesting
girdles, anything to tighten up the tummy. Yeah, pretty much. Lean and mean, new year, new resolutions, all that kind of happy stuff. Actually, I am trying to get into that workout ethic. I'm sitting too much on my butt. Need to get up a little bit more often to it, but. I love your topics. I love the fact that I can get advanced backstage.
Well, wait, we need to pitch. That's right. We need to pitch the hospitality or I almost said the Hospitality Digital Marketing
conference,
but no, it is now. Lauren has not taken it over. That's all part of his
evil plan
for world domination. Yes, his evil plan. But there's a good reason to go. The hoteliers are now all panicking and trashing their rates, guys. You can now stay at the Citizen M for $120 a night. So everybody's coming down on their rates. All the 4- and 5-star guys are getting down below that 150 line. So they're still playing around with their little resort fees, but the rooms be cheap.
What you mean? The Marriott Marquis is not worth the premium?
Well, actually, the numbers of deals going on and the lack of revenue management discipline is absolutely crazy. I mean, I've mentioned before, I booked long ago. This is my standard process, being a horrible consumer who is hostile.
Stop telling people this.
Hostile to hotel
safety. Your safety reservation.
Hostile to hotel owners, right?
Yeah.
But a very reasonable rate at the Hilton Garden Inn. Well, what am I doing? We're actually going to split up a couple nights. 2 nights are going to be at the Hilton, which is at 108. The Hilton Times Square is at $118, which is just crazy. And then we're spending a couple nights at the Royalton because our daughter's with us. So,
it's funny. Stuart Butler's bringing his boys.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. New York. Yeah,
and he should go. Oh wait, how old are his kids?
Like preteen.
It's also Broadway Theater Week, so a lot of shows.
I told him
tickets to My
I told him to go see like Aladdin or Kong the Musical.
Frozen, a lot of those had to have price tickets. That's okay. They'll just think of now. See, this is the thing. Okay, raising 2 girls. The boys, if they were smart, would go to Frozen because that's where all the girls are, right? That's like
they're not at that age where
that's true. There was
matters
a boy,
to them.
There was a boy on my daughter's dance team who all the football players would bug him and tease him and that sort of thing about being on the dance team, and he'd just come back with, "Hey guys, on Friday night, how many girls' phone numbers do you have who want to go out with you?" He's like, I've got 25 because I'm kind of the star of the States team, and that shut him up really quick. So yeah, it was like, okay, respect. So anyway,
Respect.
yes, exactly. So
Let's
should we talk about the
dive in. Yeah, top
Yeah.
story: Marriott Bonvoy.
Yes, Marriott Bonvoy, which I believe appears to be one of those names selected by committee. I don't know. Is it horrible? I don't know. It doesn't tie really into the brand. It doesn't mean anything. It's trademarkable. I think they may have designed it to appeal to the Basques living in the Pyrenees Mountains between France and Spain, because it is half French and half Spanish. So, kind of the good I go, if you want to, pool the languages. I don't know. I really think they kind of looked at it and they had a bunch of people try to get together, and they knew they didn't want to use rewards because that would be, they killed the preferred guest members would get all upset because, it's now their beloved program is gone. And they didn't want to use preferred guest. You can't really trademark that. And rewards isn't really, Marriott Rewards is trademarkable, but not just rewards. So they came up with a name you could trademark, right? Which kind of is something related to good and something kind of related to travel. And I guess Bon Voyage they probably couldn't trademark. So they came up with a compromise.
Yeah.
And, how about the logo design? Not crazy about the graphics. I'm not sure why the small O that's raised with a little line below it doesn't necessarily mean anything. I don't know. It's not a porthole. I'm not sure. That wouldn't really tie into Marriott. I have no idea what that is or what it means. Hopefully they will explain it and it will become a beloved symbol for a lifetime. But who knows? But it is what it is. So not really sure. That's my guess is that was probably the best of the options that they came up with, and they went from there. So now I hear some background noise or music. Is that you, Lauren?
Not me.
That was
Really?
me. I was trying to see if their video explained any of their thinking.
I see.
Sorry.
That's
Since
okay.
I had headphones on, I figured it wouldn't have played through. I guess.
Good microphone.
Ed-
It's a good microphone.
Ed tends to watch a lot of Netflix during this show. So
Yeah, it's my my new Netflix addictions are Slobby Robbie, who is basically like Pawn Stars, but his specialty is pop culture from the 80s and 90s. He has a store in Tucson that he sells stuff in, and the guy looks like a complete mess, but actually just knows his stuff, which makes it interesting.
Because he was probably alive way back then. Wow. He must be old.
Yes, and he got stuck. He got stuck in 1994. Anyways, so Bonvoy, I wasn't super excited about the name. I kind of thought it was I wouldn't have signed
compromising. Feels
Yeah,
compromising.
that's the thing. I wouldn't have signed off on it if I was Marriott. I would have said do better.
Yeah.
Personally.
And I bet I think one of the criteria must have been to come up with a name that was standalone trademarkable, right? That had to be something from their lawyers or somebody made that determination to just
but a
say,
brand like them at the
You
scale like they are, you could also purchase that trademark.
Yeah. Well, that's true. But yeah, I think, well, and it's interesting because they do tie it's Courtyard by Marriott, autographed by everything Marriott is attached to. And
Right.
seems
So
that seems to
their
be a little bit-
program has no real Marriott in it.
Yeah.
Bonvoy.
So anyway, I thought that would be the top story, but it is kind of a meh. And I have
It
not
is a
checked
meh.
I don't think it's really something to get excited. Now they did say something about you were getting more points for your stays. I think that is purely from using the perspective of a previous Marriott Rewards member, certainly not a Starwood preferred guest member at all.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But
True.
But they have a name. They're consolidating the stuff, and we'll see what happens on. I think it's February 13th when is the next step in Marriott's big kind of system upgrade upgrade process or integration process, I should say. So
Yeah.
that will be an interesting date. Hopefully, it will go well for them and better.
As a
than
silly
last.
sidebar question to all this, and in the impending doom and destruction of a downturn market, where do you think all this brand flavoring is going to go with this? I mean, I'm sorry, this is going to be a forgettable brand value proposition. I think it's going to be one of those ones that fall into the white noise of, where am I going to stay? I don't know, convenience, location, and price, whatever. Brand flavor, intrinsic value, points values, those things seem to be just getting into just clutter. And if things start tightening up because of downturning economy, we talk about in New York, we still have revenue managers out there that are trying to hold on to altruistically fictitious numbers, and then when reality sets in, they do the proverbial dump of rates to try to get whatever remaining demand might be coming to market. How does this all play out when it comes to a lean market? A lot of these people don't even know how to function in a thriving market.
Yeah.
Yep, it's not. It does not bode well. Let's just put it that way, because the discipline is important, and it's difficult. I mean, to really come up with something where you say you've got to hang in here for the owners to say this is going to be a painful period, but guess what? We aren't going to dig ourselves into a pit and then have to climb out of it. And we're going to, still have some money, or we can start doing some things for renovations or clearing things, or start managing the house to start doing some stuff that needs to be done. But again, that's tough. There are three constituencies who run these hotels, right? You've got a brand, you've got an owner, and you've got a management company, or the operator very often. And guess what? Those three guys have three completely different, conflicting business models. And how's that going to sort out? That's probably
it kind of goes to, I think, responsibility, culpability. At the end of the day, people sitting in the glass tower in Bethesda are not going to get burned because a hotel that somebody invested money in dies on the vine. The idea that there are people that are going to be working at these buildings they're going to plant around. Somebody spent money to get this thing built up. They don't have a responsibility to it. Like, okay, we handle this, mind thought. I was going to say a bad word. Of a brand flavor. Let's pick a name out of the hat that nobody's going to remember anyway. And now all of a sudden it crashes, burns, and everything else, and they're still walking around pulling a paycheck. It's one of those. Right. Very few people are going to have any responsibility to it. It's then meanwhile down in the trenches, so to speak, you have hoteliers that are looking across the street at hotels that they're trying to compete with. They're trying to get people to take a left instead of a right. They want to fill rooms up. They got payroll to hit. There's a reality to these decisions of let's just try and see if it fills this hole, or let's put this square in this hole and see if that fits. I get that feeling from this. That's why I'm being so negative about it. It's like this just seems like hey, I got nothing else to do. Let's make some crap up.
I think it's a challenge, because in New York there are if you search on Marriott.com, you just New York, right? You want to go there, you get 100 properties back, right? And that's a lot without the same tools and filtering capabilities that the online travel agencies have, right? Because try sorting them by customer reviews. Yeah, it's not there. Sort of thing, right? So there are lots of different aspects with, yes, you can finally, for a while they weren't allowing sorting by price and things like that. Now they have to do some of that stuff. But it's an inferior experience, and what are you going to do? And if you can't come up with enough demand through your network to feed 100 properties satisfactorily, your reward program may or may not be doing it. Again, actually, I mentioned that I'm staying at the Hilton. I booked at a AAA rate, which was $20 a night less than the Hilton Honors member rate.
Well, I've been saying that forever. I've always thought that was crazy, especially the way they present the Hilton Honors rate in their system, where it says this is the best rate you'll find online, blah, 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 blah. And then you actually look and you expand, and AAA is better. And I've been saying this for a long time. I do not understand the addiction to AAA. Like, why are they saying that we value AAA members more than our own Hilton Honors members? It makes absolutely no sense to me.
And it's the same with AARP, right? For the seniors rates, same
Right.
sort of thing. I mean, yes, it's a
Which I mean, it's got to make
it's
you
a
happy.
large membership group. Ed, when you hit 50, they send you card solicitations.
See,
Yeah, which I know 50 is really, really old and I don't know. Yeah, when you start doubling your
I'm 11 years
life.
from it, so
Exactly.
When you hit 40, things start falling apart.
11
right?
years.
Just,
11
you hit
years
the
and
4-0,
holding.
things just start unraveling. It just
Yep.
goes out from there.
Ed's 11 years to go and holding.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's Ed. If you start lying about your age from an old guy,
12,
start
12/79, my friend. I'm 39.
Start lying early.
Sorry.
Start lying early.
So again, go ahead.
Oh no! I was going to tie into another thing. Go ahead. You can continue your.
I was going to throw the shutdown in, since I seem to throw out there that whole people paychecks and all that kind of stuff, because it's turning what looked like a minor inconvenience or hiccup on the change of the year. Everybody was distracted with the holidays. Now we're seeing food lines for people that have uniforms on. I mean, seriously. This dysfunctionality is profound.
I think for travel, it's going to be the TSA lines. Right?
Yeah.
People, that is the most visible aspect of it.
The thing I thought about too is it puts especially at Orlando Airport, it puts the TSA in a weird position and their employees in a weird position, because for a long time there have been lots of discussions and arguments on eliminating the TSA at Orlando Airport and going private. So now you're in this really weird position that the TSA, if we get to the point where the TSA's people are going to start getting affected by this, those employees who don't show up to work when they're not being paid, potentially it's the last time, because there has been a large constituency that wants to get rid of the TSA in Orlando Airport. And I can't imagine they're the only airport where that's the...
Mm-hmm.
That's such and I've heard that argument a number of times at other airports, but boy,
I'm not saying whether or not it's a good argument. I'm saying this situation
you bet
puts those people who are potentially going to be next on the list of not getting paid. They have a tougher decision than some of the other government employees that are affected by this, which is if they don't show up, they are potentially sealing their fate. That may be the straw that breaks the camel's back, and it could be the space that the political powers that want to eliminate the TSA at Orlando use to bring in a private company as a trial.
Right. Yep.
So
I mean, as much as I hate to say this, if anybody, the best thing that can happen about this deadlock is it's neither side is changing because they both have their reasons. One is on the wrong. Okay, and they're not going to change because that would mean that they're admitting they're wrong. And the other side, the worse it gets, the more solidified their opinion comes. You know, and so it's a matter of
this has been a going problem with our government for a while now. This scorched earth, polar opposite political climate we've been in just keeps landing us in these garbage positions where no one is benefiting from this.
And let me throw some rocks at the Democrats who are, saying, hey, look at all these horrible things that happen. The Republicans are doing when they started changing stuff in the Senate and they started going nuclear option where it's just 51 votes on these things. They started it. And, both political parties got to look at this stuff as you start changing around these rules in your favor on this kind of transactional moment. And you're undermining democracy. You're undermining how this government, a long time ago, they set up these 3 branches of government. It was kind of experimental and it doesn't work perfectly and it's messy. But now they're structuring things where, shut it down is the answer politically. That's not good.
We keep ending up here too on everything. It seems like every issue ends up threatening a government shutdown.
I just hope that the suggestion that's floating that the TSA and the air traffic controllers just do a massive walkout, I hope that happens after the 24th. Is all I'm saying is if you guys can hang out.
No, after the 28th.
Oh, after the 28th. So if you all are listening,
my daughter
don't do the walkout until after the 28th. After that, solidarity. Boom, let's all do it. But until then,
my daughter needs to get to Florence, Italy to study abroad.
But
everything has been paid for her semester. This is very important.
But to be fair, on the travel and a marketing point of view for us, I mean, the reality of this is some of the marketing campaigns I'm doing, I'm dialing down the geometry of the marketing campaigns in the anticipation that we can't solicit the travel with travel from flight or government required engagements like TSAs and so
I
forth.
really hope it doesn't come to that. My gosh, like,
well,
I
don't
so.
know. I mean, you're going to get, any sort of, non-essential activity. You start getting into travel. Now, again, it's only a quarter of the government, right? That's everything else.
Right now.
Yeah, well, yeah, right, exactly. And it can start getting worse. But that's also the problem where, I don't know, the Pelosi and those guys not going to the World Economic Forum, you kind of look at it and go, right. Yeah. Okay. So people need to start getting some pain at the government level and say, hey, or at the top level and say, you've got to fix this. You need the same pain as these other folks. So,
right. And listen, not to make this a political statement for all of this, but it will have and does have and is currently having travel impact decisions. I mean, people are reevaluating their travel plans based on this continuing on. I mean, I'll be flat out. If I could choose otherwise, I would not be traveling next week because I don't want to go through a 3-hour wait in a hopeful line that's still running. I don't want to go over and be up in New York and then find out that the walkout happened and there is no flights and I got to bum a ride with Robert in his car.
No, actually, I did mention to
remember John Candy and Steve Martin. That's what I'm picturing.
with my wife and daughter. No, because I'm in a situation where my daughter has to be on a 10 a.m. flight on Monday morning, which means she probably has to be at the DFW airport at 6. Right? I don't know what those, but that's so she has to be there early Monday morning.
Well, seeing as that's also the largest airport, like land wise, I've ever seen. What's it take? Like even if you live right outside the airport, it's an hour drive in.
No, it's not that bad.
But actually that airport has more capacity if they fully built it out, and it's not fully built out yet. I think it's more than Newark, JFK, and LaGuardia combined or something like that. It's just
if they opened up the other two terminals, DFW would be the most massive, bigger than Jackson, everything.
And I think they could actually do 4 more, I think. Yeah, it's like where they have the rental car things, or the not the rental car bay, but they have these kind of circular parking areas and things like that. Those are designed for terminals. Ultimately.
No, it's actually, as an airport goes, it's actually a great airport to get now because it has three major roads into it. It has a train coming to it, and the connectivity between the terminals is pretty speedy. Even when I lived 20 minutes away, when you get to the airport, you're 15 minutes from any terminal gate. By getting on a train and walking off the train. So, I mean, it works out well for that. But sorry, just to finish. But we have a 4 p.m. flight on Saturday on Southwest coming back to Dallas, right? Because way in advance when we booked this, it was like, oh, yeah, well, that'll give us Sunday to get my daughter packed. That's a decent buffer. Well, now, if something goes wrong at that 4 p.m. flight, I've got a 24-hour drive, right? I actually rented a car, right? I've got a reservation for a rental car in case this happens, and people don't want to go through that brain damage of, we shouldn't do it. I mean, if it's discretionary travel, why go? I will put it off until later. And again, because there's a shelf life on airline seats and hotel rooms. It's so hard to fill last night's hotel room that went empty. I know Ed's figured that out for his clients at Flip2. That's why it's Flip2. It's this whole time travel thing. It's very cool. But,
it is very cool. Unused hotel rooms no longer go to waste.
That's right. They're sold. They're sold to somebody else.
That's why he has the Avengers poster back there.
That's right.
The superhero of travel at St. Albans.
That's right. That's right. I've been learning from watching Schitt's Creek on how to fill a hotel.
Ironically, we talk about downturns and the potentialities of them. We know that we've been in the longest growth market and all this other stuff. Things like this, the innocuous things like this, the butterfly's wings that flap and the chaos that creates, this could be a linchpin point to this. It cascades. We're not seeing the numbers of the economic impact yet. We're just seeing the humanistic aspect of it, the food lines, the crises of people that live on a short sustainability. But now we're talking about travel reconstruction. We're talking about hesitancy for this to happen. And these are just the tips of the decisions that are being made right now. The reality of it is that these decisions have already been made, and we're in that 3 to 6 week roll right now. We're going to start seeing this impact. We're going to start seeing these changes. And from a marketing perspective shift, and Ed, I do this related to friends of ours that are in Miami, the change in who we're marketing towards, from the traditional who fly in versus those that may be more around drive markets and
absolutely.
is a literal shift in strategy of planning and saying we should be chasing these people down before our comp set starts chasing them down, because if we can build better business from drive market early, before people realize people aren't going to fly in as much because they might be making these decisions now for spring and everything else, let's get the head start on it.
Yeah.
Because it really is. There is definitely, we're not going to fly for our vacation in March if this stuff is still going on, or maybe financially we can't even afford to consider that as an option because we had to live through. How is it be that you could be made to go to work but not get paid, and worse yet, not get back paid because of it? What mindset is that?
I think most of them who are required to come into work are going to get back pay, I think.
No, there's some. There are some
the contractors.
They're not getting back paid. They're working. They're forced to work. They won't get back pay even when it comes back online.
I don't know. Yeah, I haven't.
I mean, it's not a big number. Don't get me wrong. There's those that are getting furloughed versus those who, But they were showing them in the news that there is a contingency of some branches of it that they've been mandated to work.
Oh, because they haven't officially voted on that particular group,
right?
Back pay, which I would have to imagine that will eventually get settled. But again,
or there'll be lawsuits.
There's already lawsuits.
Yeah, but the problem is for the government contractors, and there are a lot of government contractors. Those guys aren't getting paid because they are not working, right? That's just done, right? And so it's not catch up or anything like that. It's just like, and they aren't working without pay. It's just like you're out. Right, you can't do anything. Some of the government websites for people trying to look for things, TSA website things, they aren't getting updated, right?
Nope.
And so it's just all that sort of stuff makes it worse. And people, you do not want to start training people to go, gosh, I'm not going to travel. What could I do? Hey, gardening's great. I'll do that instead of travel, right?
Yeah. So you can grow your own food, I guess, because your government has failed you.
Funny that you said that. I was on a podcast yesterday talking about farm to table stuff. But anyway, go ahead.
Okay, I think we should go talk about one particular thing which I have uncovered, which hasn't been covered by the press quite yet. Although I did tip somebody off, Hotels.com has an interesting cooperative effort with Target and their red card holders.
Yeah.
So they're
actually doing a couple of interesting things. They're Hotels.com. Before you get to the red card one, which makes sense, I don't know if you saw the promotion where if your NFL team wins the Super Bowl, Hotels.com will give you a room to conceive a child.
Really?
Did not see that one.
That one was a bit out there for me. I don't know if I.
Okay, you're sure that wasn't The Onion?
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Huh. I'm wondering how if you just say yes, I am a whatever fill in the blank fan. So. A Saints fan, a Chiefs fan, whatever it may be this year. So, but anyway, Hotels.com. Okay, so people who aren't familiar with Target's red card, it is their credit card. They also have a debit card version. I'm not sure if it works on the debit, if you have a debit card as well. But basically, Seth is going to be joining us. No, he's not. He's going to pass back. I thought it could help out with the show. He's very opinionated on his Target purchases. But Target red cards comprise about 25% of Target's total revenue. So it is a lot of people with a lot of spending power. And what they've done actually a very good job. The only way you can access this is when you're on your manage your red card page. So it isn't just out there on Target.com where anybody can go and you have to use Target red card coupon code, right? So it's all done through a coupon code. So you can't put it in. There's some sort of token from that from that website that then sends you to the affiliate site for Hotels.com that's locked down to these Target Red Card members. And then you pretty much get 10% off on pretty much any prepaid booking.
Yeah.
Which is basically some sort of cooperative method between, I don't know how much Hotels.com is taking a haircut on their margin because they don't have to spend on customer acquisition. I don't know how much of a haircut Target is maybe taking in terms of their merchant fee, because again, it's a credit card that's getting used. It's a form of payment, right? So that solidifies people in there. And I think a lot of people don't realize you can use a Target Red Card at Starbucks as well, right? For 5% off.
Because a lot of Targets also have Starbucks in them.
Absolutely. Yeah, they did that, but I believe you can use it at any Starbucks because Starbucks put it into their Oracle point of sale system as a valid form of payment, even though it's not part of the MasterCard network or Visa card network or anything like that. So all of a sudden, that's cheaper for Starbucks. It's great for Target.
And I'm sure Hotels.com is
similar scenario.
Yeah, similar thing. I mean, it's an interesting brand partnership.
Yeah. And it's a closed group. There's nothing. It's interesting. I posted this on LinkedIn, and a VP of distribution for one of the large hotel groups came back and started saying, "Oh yeah, these guys are abusing package rates. This is really bad when it comes out." And I went, "Wait a second, hang on. This is not that. This is totally different. This is the situation with all the hoteliers who wished for the end of rate parity, where they could market to their customers as a closed group and do anything they want." Well, the other side of that knife,
although this would have never applied to rate parity anyways, Robert, because this would be a qualified rate.
Yeah,
that's true. Well, sort of.
It would be a qualified rate.
Yeah, well, the group. Well, it's not really a qualified rate, though. It's a coupon code, so they're giving a rebate off of that booking, right? So you put in that Target Red Card, and you see that it was, $248. You put it in, it goes minus 24.
But most rate parity agreements had an exception for qualified rate. Right. So they're making it a qualified rate by making you have to do quite a bit. I mean, if you think about it, to be a Target Red Card member, it is. You've done a lot more.
Right.
Yeah.
I would say it's a closed group on a non-qualified rate, but that's how they got around it. Because again, all the rates are out there. It does have to be prepaid.
Right. But, so I mean, that's
they fenced it. They fenced it very effectively, where there's nothing the hoteliers can really do.
And the hoteliers shouldn't be upset about it. I mean, that's a prepaid, non-refundable, that's a really restrictive rate.
Yeah. Well, it's not prepaid and non-refundable, though, because a lot of these are refundable, too.
Oh, okay. Right? I thought it was prepaid.
It has to be where Hotels.com's the merchant of record. Let's put it that way. It can't be paid by the hotel. So, and I think with the terms of the agreements, it depends on how this gets worked out. Now, the discussion on this LinkedIn thread, did wind up going to some of the package stuff, because yes, the OTAs are now starting to get pretty aggressive with their testing, right? Mm-hmm. So I think, times are good. They're figuring out what works, what doesn't, and just preparing, getting all their data in order for what happens when a downturn occurs. So I noticed, again, just poking around, half for my own self-interest on these bookings for next week, but it's a nice little laboratory to see what the hell is going on with real world scenarios.
Right.
Priceline, because I booked that rental car one way, my escape car from New York to get back home. They started, even though it's a one-way rental from New York to Dallas on Saturday, was saying, hey, you booked a rental car, you can save up to 40% because they're doing
second touch, second chance packaging.
Yeah, would you like fries with that approach? Even though it's not really a related booking at all, but again, if those terms are not in the agreement, that it has to be a simultaneous purchase with the OPay pricing, which some of the groups do have in there, but a lot of them don't. They're getting abused. So it's it's very interesting between the discounts for the loyalty programs, the Genius rates on Booking.com, the member-only rates on Expedia and Hotels.com, the free rooms, free room after 10 bookings, all that sort of stuff, and in many cases, better rates than what the hotels have. Again, I mentioned, might as well call everybody out. I booked the Royalton. It wound up, I think I found it off of Roomkey, right? Or something, because I just wanted to see how Roomkey's rates were stacking up. I got off of Roomkey through Preferred Hotels for a rate that was $40 a night, less than what Highgate was selling on the Royalton's own website. Why that should happen, I have no idea, right? That's just a gap in revenue management somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but again, those are the seams that in a downturn, people really start expending time looking for, right? It becomes a game. So I don't know, but yeah, there is a lot of play, and this whole rate parity thing is now out the window for the hotels. The cat is out of the bag, and it is getting tested aggressively.
And they're the only ones who are going to suffer because of it. I mean, that's
absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is kind of the progression towards what we say is that personalization rate. That mythical thing that we all talk about, that all rates will be personalized to the individual, and that the public rates, the generic rates will go away. This personalization pricing, in a way, it's kind of in that direction, because you say you're qualifying the relationships of the mergers of databases, saying because you're this and this and this, it does create you as an individual avatar, an entity that says you qualify because of these combinations. And as such, you're being given a unique value or cost or price that you're not being offered to anybody else unless you're qualifying for this. So this is in that lean towards saying that this unique pricing structure is going to happen because of the individual combinations of databases, of people that are combined with things. So there
was actually another one. This was
actually, it'll be interesting. Just let's quickly touch on personalized rates. If I was a hotelier, I wouldn't be super excited about trying to rush towards that, because what you're thinking you're going to accomplish with it will quickly become illegal. If you're thinking that you're going to be able to charge more for specific people than others. The European Union's already trying to move towards making it illegal for trading your personally identifiable information for savings. It'll be a long time before that happens, but as soon as a group of people find out that your pricing somehow is unfairly charging them more than others, that part of it will be short-lived, but the consumer is still going to you're going to open Pandora's box. They're going to want savings for what they represent to you from an overall revenue opportunity. So I wouldn't blindly be excited about personalized rates, because it's not going to go it's going to do is add substantial complexity without a lot of upside revenue opportunity long term. You may get a short term, yay, we got to take part in this, it was a great bump, but you're going to set a consumer expectation, and there will be a refusal of allowing you to discriminate against a specific type of traveler to charge more.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and it will be, they'll come up with a group and they'll say, hey, here's a sample of people, and maybe these are low-income people who travel infrequently, don't have whatever, and all of a sudden they're being charged more than affluent people, right, who travel a lot. That's not going to work. And they'll base it on whatever. It'll be gender or race or religion or whatever. They can aggregate up and say you're doing it wrong, and they will have the data, and you will.
And if they don't catch you up front, they will catch you in arrears when they somehow spend enough time to realize that your algorithmic approach to how you did this actually discriminated against this specific type of person.
You accidentally you had some collateral damage. You accidentally disenfranchised X group, and watch out.
I'm going to pull Tim Peter on this one. I want to say I agree with you, but I think it's also optimistic to think that we're actually going to be that monitored way of doing it, because here's my thought to this. Gas stations already do this in the real world. I mean, you live in a rich or affluent community, your price per gallon is up because they can. And because of the convenience factor of its locale, you're charging more per gallon in that market than you are in a more economically challenged market where you have to charge less if you want to sell anything. There's two major factors to any purchase acquisition. Is either the product quality itself merits the price, or the ignorance of what the value proposition is merits a higher price. I mean, because going to Robert's thing, I just had to find one bad revenue manager in New York. Price is sustainable by demand. And so if he goes in and he can find, because of his algorithmic methodology, one place that's charging half price for a good quality product, he'll find it. That's opportunistic to awareness. Anybody else goes and looks and tries to do the generic search, and they know they want to be near Times Square, and even though they're ranking them according to feedback and sentiment and everything else, they're still going to be looking at only what's being presented to them. They're not really.
Yes, but see, here's the difference, Lauren. Gas stations who already do that also have laws on how they position displaying their pricing, so the consumer, before they even pull in, are aware of what that is. Right. So again, I throw caution to the hotel industry. That stepping into this world, you're probably going to end up with government laws on the web on how you present.
Absolutely.
And that's the golden rule that I think that I'm trying to point to, is that it's not opaque. It can't be an opaque relationship if this is going to be tailored to your value proposition as a future guest. It would have to say, if you're a Target Red Card holder and you work for XYZ company, you get this rate. Again, that's a personalization, but it's also an open availability. So if I want that rate, I need to go get a Red Card and I need to go work for this company. So it's a lot different than saying I'm going to give you this rate and not tell anybody else, and it turns out it's because I'm a white man with blonde hair. That's bad. But
a lot of hoteliers are picturing data-driven rate decisions.
Oh, absolutely.
And data-driven rate decisions. They're picturing that as being opaque, not
a rate for every.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
That's where I think the flaw in this is. That's why I completely agree with you. That's the bad path.
Yeah,
if you do this,
but that's a path that I guarantee you most of this industry is picturing when they talk about it.
Yeah. The fact that it doing what Robert says, if I'm a card carrying AAA, AARP, work for XYZ company, live in this area of the country, with driving this car from this company that I bought, and all these qualifiers, as long as it's out front that says anybody could be that if you chose to, but since you're not, you won't get this rate. Well, that's different than it being handled behind the scenes and then some being given off and it off.
Well, I'll give you an example on that car rental, right? Another real world example. I got that car rental on AutoSlash, which may be my favorite travel site. It is not. It's kludgy. It is not online real time, but what you do is you put in, here's where I'm picking up the car, here's where I'm dropping it off, right? And here are the dates and here are the times, standard car rental type stuff. But then they have another page which says, do you have an American Express card? Do you have a Visa? Do you have a MasterCard? Do you have a Costco card? Do you have AAA? All these different, options. And you go, yeah, I got these things. Then you click go, select. It goes, now it sends you an email. It cooks for a while, right? But then it comes back, and we had a one-way car rental for $250. If I went to Hertz.com, Avis, rentalcars.com, the lowest price out there was $1,100, right? That's a difference because of the drop fees. So I don't know if it's because of the Costco membership, something's eliminating or capping or having a fixed drop. I don't care. Right? I'm a consumer. I'm saving, nearly. Actually, a lot of them were like $1,500. $1,100 was like the best, right? So, something like that. That's what. What are you eligible for? On the Focusrite email bucket, there's been a discussion. I've got to write a paper on personalization this year. Is one of my topics. But
you mean somebody came up personalization, like using my first name in an email to me?
Yeah.
Wow.
Or kind of the future. It's a trend.
Are you talking about the future, or are you talking about
one of the trends in the future? What's done? Getting the your name in brackets where the field in your name hasn't been populated because they messed up the template. Yeah, that's I always like those. But anyway, somebody came up with a very interesting term, which was individualization, right? Where you have customization. That's where you say 2 adults, 2 children, and it customizes the content and maybe the navigation path, whatever may happen, based on explicit, overt things entered by the consumer, right? That's fine. That's great. Customization. And again, that's not happening in the industry anyway. Now, if you go to Expedia.com and you look for hotels in in Hawaii on Maui or something, yes, you'll see nice pictures of the hotels and things like that. But then you start looking at the guest rooms, nothing. It's just horrible, right? But and the hotels are worse at it than Expedia is. So
Hey,
that's one thing. The next one though is individualization. That's where you're part of a group and you are not overtly saying anything, right? It passively figures out you're eligible for this. I'm going to give it to you. Right.
Yep.
And
Makes
then
sense.
the third one is truly personalization, which is the personally identifiable information. It goes, oh, it's Ed. We love him. Yeah, let's go give Ed good stuff. Oh,
Yeah.
it's Lauren.
Eh.
He only stays
he
at the
hacks us
resident
every
inn in
time he
Montgomery,
comes
Alabama.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, speaking of personalization, individualization, and all the rest of this, and this is not on the list, but I don't know if you guys are aware of this. Facebook blew up a whole mess of new toolkits that is very scary if you really start working with them. They have an attribution configuration. They have an analytics configuration that's very much about, hey, don't just use Google. We got something over here. But the scary part of it is all the data they're using is a lot different than the data that Google's using. And you start putting those two together, you start talking about being able to put some triangulation and crosshairs on some stuff. It gets spooky scary real fast. That attribution model, I'm loving that attribution, because when you add that combination to some other stuff, you're going, dang, that's some pretty good data. And it's free. And that's the cool part, because, well, we're free in the sense that you're paying for ad campaigns, and that gives you the access on Business Manager, but the account's free.
And Lauren loves it because he can validate his hypotheses by turning on the camera in Portal in real time and see what they're talking about on what hotel they want to stay in. It's fantastic.
Right? It's crazy. It's funny that you said it, because I actually bought these are all little logoed. I got to bring them to the show next week. Little logoed camera covers for the computers. So
That's
yeah,
hilarious.
now that I know I can do this, I'm handing these out.
You're a friend of mine, so therefore I won't spy on you. Here you go.
I want to put this on
exactly.
your camera.
Yeah,
Just wait till they start selling the logoed like Microsoft microphone blockers for your phone.
Oh yeah,
Your
right.
phone can't listen to you.
Oh,
I bought a microphone jack blocker for my laptop too, because it's very easy to turn those on.
My daughter just had that happen. She was freaked out yesterday. She had gone to Warby Parker. She'd gotten some glasses or something like that. She was going to get these sunglasses, and she was talking about these. She never actually went to the page, but she was describing it, having conversations with friends about it, and now that pair of glasses, she didn't know the name of it. She didn't see it on site. She had just seen it literally in the store and had to run out and wanted to do more. And those glasses are now following her. She does not know how, but she is like, what the hell is going on?
Facebook has a wonderful program on offline marketing tracking, by the way. and if that store, which most likely did, had some beacon to it, there's a very good probability.
She's like, is this Warby Parker? Is this Facebook? Is it whatever? It's like, it's somebody, and so, who knows? They could have had a beacon on where they're going, oh, we've triangulated your Mac ID off of your phone. We know where you're standing, whatever the case may be, to go, you were in front of those glasses for, and we already looked up your height somewhere.
Well, there's actually a software called 411 that is literally does three-dimensional placement within 10 centimeters of accuracy in environments that if you go into a building and your latency and where you're standing and what shelf space is and the height is at, it knows what you're looking at. And it's an actual program. It's called 411.
Scary.
Yep.
So scary.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we can't get people to go over and get food that wear uniforms. We're back in that world, right?
Hey, now wait.
That makes me mad. It just makes me mad.
We need to tell everyone on the show, Tim Peter is not in this week because he's in Washington, D.C. My theory, because Tim is very secretive on this stuff, I believe he is working on resolving this government shutdown. So
he's been brought in as a media.
He has been brought in as the guy to fix everything.
And he starts every sentence with, well, I agree with you. I just want to take a slightly different angle.
And he starts showing them articles on timpeter.com going, look, I've already figured this out. I wrote about this 3 years ago. So let's.
As the only truly legitimate source of all things that's still being maintained and operated, because it's not under the government shutdown. It is the de facto point of truth. But anyways,
exactly. So
I'm going to have to go back.
There was I put in the things this Carolyn Strachan on the move to attribute-based online travel shopping, which is basically the attributes. This is in the corporate world, but it really is with her points were airlines and hotels are reviewing distribution strategies. These booking interfaces are stuck in the 1990s. All these policy settings for corporations need to change, and something's going to give, right? And it should, because if you're a corporate travel planner, you really, between the policies, what the company's looking at, you should be able to go figure out the best rate, which is in policy, make it seamless, have a happy customer because or happy employee because they're getting whatever their points or they're maximizing their.
Well, that's where services
diem,
like
whatever it may be,
come in though and help corporate travel quite a bit.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and
which is run by the ex-CEO of EasyYield.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, and ones like what was just one was just somebody bought Deem, which was kind of interesting. It was actually that was Enterprise Rent-A-Car. I thought that was very interesting. Enterprise Holdings, who also owns Alamo and National, bought Deem with corporate travel platform. So that's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
But a lot of these things, Route Happy, which grades the basically the quality of, it looks at seat pitch on that sort of thing, and all these various combinations of, you should get the upgraded seat. That's a good deal. It's only $15 on this trip because that's a good seat. That's lots of very interesting tools in a very convoluted, model going through a lot of different gauntlets.
Another one off the list that's not on the list actually is I forwarded it over to you guys. I thought I was very impressed with Travel Trippers' approach to how they're taking on the mantle of ADA compliance. They're taking on the mantle of GDPR compliance. They're taking on the mantle of that sustainable hosting of a site in addition to the combination to their booking engine. Kudos to them. I mean, really and honestly,
but they've always been good like that, and part of that's because they're all hotelier background. Let's not forget, Travel Tripper was born from Highgate.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, and for those who may not know about Travel Tripper, definitely to look into their booking engine is phenomenal. I'm an advocate of their booking engine as well. But what I got onto was a webinar that they provided, and I know contractually they're not putting themselves in liability way. They're not saying, hey, we're going to take the bullet for you. We're going to take responsibility that you'll always be in compliance. What they are saying is we are dedicating ourselves that if we're hosting your website, we are also going to go over and make you compliant and consistent with all the regulations that go with GDPR and with ADA compliance. And we're going to always monitor it. And we're always going to make sure that so that if you are going to get dragged into these carpetbagging, lawsuits that are not out there to fix something, but really just to claim money, we can provide the logs, the data, the sustainability for you to actually contest it and say, no, we're doing everything that we are aware of as we're doing it, and we put into place everything.
And in most cases, it's all you need to do to stave off those lawsuits is show that you've put in a best effort, that it exists. But this is Travel Tripper's one of the good vendors. I mean, and they've always been. They care a lot about that stuff. They don't wait for their customers to ask for things like this. This is what I've always liked about them. This is why they've been a partner at both my companies, is because they are always looking out for their partners and their clients. I mean, they're just a good vendor like that.
We should get them on the show. We should go drag out.
We should.
They should get them on here. And they are doing good things. I mean, they got the Caesars deal. That's a massive for a company.
They're going to own Casino. I can already tell you that, because their ability to take Players Club bookings, believe it or not, that's still incredibly difficult. So their focus in that area is just going to pay off in spades for them. And one of the nice things when you look at Travel Tripper versus some other booking engines is when something comes up where like a widget vendor comes out, like a room upgrade, cart abandonment, best rate, guarantee stuff. Like when any of that stuff comes up, they just build it into their booking engine.
Right.
And so when you look at the economy of working with them versus bolting all that stuff together, they're actually a huge value of an architecture. I've referred in a lot, like when I hear clients moving off of legacy booking platforms, like their PMS's booking platform, things like that, they're always one that if I'm talking to the revenue manager, especially, I'm like, if you have to win a fight, you'll want to win this fight because their merchandising is solid. The functionality, the marketing functionality in the booking engine is really solid. It's a really good platform.
Yeah. Well, and one of the key pieces of functionality when they do the rate comparisons, they aren't out there saying, here's a list of other sites to go.
No, they do it right.
They do it right. They just match the price.
Right.
And they may show the other ones, but they're always in parity.
Yep.
Or that you could set it as we're always a buck less. It doesn't matter. You can figure out your strategy for what you do, and it dynamically changes that, which is fantastic. Is the way it should be.
It's the right way to do it.
Exactly. Exactly. So amazing when you have hoteliers involved with designing some of these things. Actually, one thing I thought was Pinterest is still kind of an interesting little site. A very, very sort of niche-y. I don't know. Jury may be out on whether it's a viable spot for hotels do anything beyond kind of the inspiration phase. But they are now working with some. They have some personas for travelers, group travelers, culture chasers,
Pinterest,
spa sojourners, adventure lovers, and eating explorers. So, they're trying to do something to try to get the advertising and the influencers to target more into people who will self-identify into these groups.
Yeah,
which
this is what I'm not dismissing.
Is the self-identification of that.
I'm not dismissing Pinterest as a market strategy, and I use them selectively based on the segmentation I'm chasing, particularly Smurf is what I'm chasing.
Super top of funnel though.
Yeah, it's very, very. There's very specific things that it has.
Most hotels top of funnel is here. Pinterest is like
way up. Yeah,
my arm's not long.
I'm gonna tell you what I mostly and only pretty much use it for at this particular moment is weddings. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
Which the majority of pin boards about weddings, the people who have created those pin boards aren't even in the relationship yet.
Yeah.
Right,
and
we use it as a watermark.
Bloggers about weddings. I mean,
right? We use it as a watermark of if we can conquer that early of a stage, like it's a complete dynamic change. It's something we talk about here quite a bit. Is the Pinterest wedding board? How can you use that as a way to win so early that you're part of the dream? Which when you think about the implication price point wise, if you become part of the dream.
Yeah, absolutely.
The only way that I've been able to find out two crossovers is going for micro influencers and looking at their boards that they have for those that are in particular market segments. Florida weddings is a very specific engagement and interest. And if you can find who's influencers in that market and if they have an active board with Pinterest, those are good combinations to try to play with. But it's almost not worth the labor because there's no methodology other than brute looking, and digging that gets the data to it. But
and to be honest, like put more thoughtfulness in your listing on the Knot and Wedding Wire. Yeah. There's so much demand. So my wife used to specialize in wedding planning specifically, and a single ad on the Knot would book her for 50% of the weekends of a year. Because there's just so much.
Oh yeah, ride the tails of the people that are already established authorities. By far, the Knot by far. But again, it goes back to there's certain areas within Florida like Jupiter. This is what's in my head because it's what I did. That people are looking for, and they've created this dream about an actual location. In their mind, they have the story, and if you can jump into that story, as you said, and ride that ride through their vision of what they want, you're in.
Absolutely.
Yep. So. But besides that, but the reason why I'm not dismissing Pinterest in the long run for this is we know everything's shifting to visualization anyway with the videography and so forth. And Pinterest is still a visual and solicitation. Just like we were just talking about Facebook. Facebook added a new travel category in their context, which is wicked easy, cool. Instead of having to dig out segmentations, you can just go category, boom, and you're getting travelers. So Pinterest, their move on this their visualization of what they have, the Instagram world, the visualization of sharing it, and then there's others. That's why I think Pinterest is still going to be in the game. Again, selectively on the high end of the funnel still. You're not, unless they really start creating a socialization of what they're doing beyond the broadcasting of what they're doing, it'll always still be on that high end. But if it starts getting into conversation, it's good
and it
content.
has some shelf life if it's used properly, right? Because again, when you get on these, as Ed was saying, you get on these pin boards, and they're there. If someone who's, who knows, 15 years old dreaming about their honeymoon in different places, right? It may be 12 years out. So,
right. You may be flying a
amazing
different flag and look completely differently than when they pinned you.
Exactly.
If you actually think about your investment cycles.
But they pinned you. The Instagram post disappeared a decade ago. It's everything's gone in the news feed and stuff. Where Pinterest, so it's an interesting.
Well, this
platform
is something we're looking at quite a bit too. Is part of the problem with how marketing is happening right now is some of your really high quality efforts are so heavily siloed to a single media point that the shelf life of your efforts is just so small. So one of the things we're looking at trying to reimagine is how can you get a better half-life out of these efforts and really make sure that you're not overly siloed in some of these efforts. And so it's something we've been focused on for about a year, is taking this very siloed content and figuring out how to weave it better into a journey using signals on the person's behavior to decide when is it appropriate to take this siloed piece of content that was purpose built for a specific, like Facebook use or Instagram use, and how do you actually make it useful outside of the network?
Right.
Which is possible if you can understand that this person is looking for heavy visual, inspiration. You don't need to send them to Instagram. You could feed them the content that you built for Instagram inside your own controlled environment. And now all of a sudden, something that was a post a year ago, 2 years ago, that is doing nothing for you right now is back into driving value. You can actually then feel better about your investment in your content creation.
Yeah. Well, and this ties in. I'm doing a session at the HSMAI conference on influencer marketing, and it's going to break down what the identifying influencers, good influencers from not so good influencers, some things in contractual terms, and one of the key terms is reuse of the who owns this stuff, and certainly at the flip to you figured it out on all the advocacy.
Everyone's
side.
an influencer, right? Advocacy.
Right.
That's what we believe in. But the other thing I'll say is
but who
the
owns
influencer
it and
as
the reuse is huge.
right.
You
Well,
gotta have
we
that
focus
work
on
through.
making sure that the hotel owns it all and can
Yeah.
do whatever they want with it. Compliance is a big part of what we care about.
Yeah.
But when I talk to hotels that are asking questions about influencers, one of the things I kind of point out to them is this is the new version of PR. Like
Absolutely.
a high quality influencer is like hiring a really high quality PR agency that has their own audience.
Yeah.
So you should focus on the quality of content that they can create that you own, and the audience that they've collected, really understanding, is it a benefit to your hotel? If you can't get to that easily on an influencer, then they're not a high quality influencer, and they're not going to create value for you. And it's just a waste of everyone's time. And so I always tell them, like, look at them as you would look, because influencers are the new PR firm. That's really what they are.
Well, and let me tell you, I may ping you guys later today. I've got to come up with a couple new case studies for my influencer presentation, because I was relying on, I won't mention the major hotel group.
Look at Experience Kissimmee did the 12 days of this dog's Christmas tour of Kissimmee. It was one of my favorite.
I'm trying to do an individual property that an individual property can do effectively.
Grand Bohemian was part of it. Look at what they did on their part.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on Experience Kissimmee's Facebook feed. It was a 12-day tour.
Do they have the results and everything? Do they have the results?
I don't know if they do, but I can tell you.
That's what I'm trying to say. Here are the results, because this major hotel group had a program, and they spent $23,000, and yeah, they had X 900,000 impressions, whatever the hell that means, right? That's just not. Forget about that stuff. 327 clicks. It was like $70.
I'm sorry, $23,000 for 327 clicks.
$70 a click.
Can you send me who that hotel is? Because I want to send them like.
It was a major hotel group.
Oh, because like Hard Rock Daytona, we're about to release the first 9 months of them being open. They've been on the platform. 5 cents a unique visitor has been.
Okay, I need your stats. Do you have some stats you can?
I'll send you the case study. It's not completely polished yet.
Oh no, that's okay. I will present it. No, because I am presenting advocates as opposed to the kind of celebrity.
Yeah, our platform average is 9 cents a unique visit, not a click, a unique visit.
Right, exactly. And so anyway, you started looking through these things. It was horrible. Then they had a second case, and again, this was presented as, oh, we've got some great stuff. And I wish I could present it at this forum, which I can't really do, as look at what are the, and certainly I'm building this thing up as what are your business objectives. You've got to figure out your objectives, your strategies, your target
market. What are you going to do with the
stuff? Then you get to your influencers, right?
Because that's the challenge is I think too many hotels don't focus on reusing the content in meaningful ways to actually get a further value driven out of that. Because when you look at an influencer, their audience is only one part of the value proposition. Right. The rest of it is the content that comes from it, which if you're only going to have that content reach the audience that the influencer brings, then you're going to get negative return on investment every single time.
And these guys, in terms of bookings, which was one of the things, they wanted to drive bookings to their website and convert. They got 23. No, I'm sorry. They spent 23. They got just under $14,000 of gross booking revenue, right? And I just looked at this and went, I can't present this. Right, that's just not.
I kind of feel like you should. Present
or we'll change. Yeah. Or we'll change.
I kind of feel like you should present that. And the reason you should present that is not to embarrass the people, but it's a conversation that needs to be had. It's more than just picking the right influencer and coming to terms on who's going to do what. It's what else, because it's not going to be enough. Unless you're pulling Kylie Jenner in. Yes, her network is big enough that the volume will most likely be there, but you better be high ADR. You better be high ADR.
You're going to pay $1 million.
So every year I have the privilege of being a judge.
And you're going to get one post, right?
Yeah. Every year I have the privilege of being a judge for Hotel Magazine, and they have for social awards that they have, and so they get this global infusion of applicants as to their successes with social. And this last year was the first one that involved influencer engagements and so forth. And they must hate me as a judge because my comments are brutal. We did this, and we got this many, impressions and this much of the people said this.
I'm unimpressed with your impressions.
Yeah, I'm impressed with your impressions. Going, and what was the tangible result financially of the obligations that you created? Yes, there was only 2 people on your team. That's great. For doing all this work, this was great, and great that you did. I'm doing the HSMAI advertising. We're clicking over 2,000 current posts right now that were built. This is not an easy task to promote something. It's a persistent, multi-platform thing. So telling me that you have 2 people and you did 60 posts or something over the course of 2 weeks is. Dude, that's not even showing any effort. That's not even trying.
Why did it take 2 people is my question.
Yeah, and then we had this much impressions, and the restaurant reported that 15 people took pictures and stuff. I was like, and how many plates more did you sell? How many rooms more did you sell? What was the revenue correlation to your campaigns? And they never provide that. And the only ones that get good marks from me are the ones that say we spent this and we made this. This is what we did between the 2. And I would sit and look at the ratio and go, that sounds sustainable. That's good. That was a good effort.
And the making it may not be a revenue. We got this many subscriptions. We got this many followers. We have some sort of.
Actually, if you're smart.
We now have a communication method.
If you're smart,
with these people,
when you're building engagements like this, is to have micro conversions.
Absolutely.
Because the bottom line is you're dealing, especially an influencer, you're generally dealing in very top of funnel. Your website does not have the right conversions for very top of funnel to capture people to then have, communications to be able to long-term track the value proposition that came from this single effort. So driving an influencer campaign that goes to your website, I can guarantee you will always be a negative ROI unless you're focusing on some wonky value in a vanity metric. In actual tracked booked revenue, you will have a negative ROI.
Right.
However, if you build micro conversions that then have nurture paths behind it to stretch out the engagement, because timing. Just because you happen to meet Lauren because you hired the other Lauren to be an influencer does not mean Lauren has any ability to go to Hawaii in the next 6 months. So if you can't track Lauren over the next year and a half back to that original campaign, then yes, your campaign reporting is going to be negative, even though Lauren may book a $15,000 trip with you a year and a half later because of that touch. And that is trackable. You just have to be thoughtful.
It is absolutely trackable.
And if you're not thoughtful in it, then chances are you have no real understanding of what any of your marketing's doing for you.
Right. Because, going to your point, Ed, it's like, just because you decide to run XYZ campaign about going to Hawaii, and I've always thought about going to Hawaii, so I like the campaign, I'm not in a position to exercise that option right now. And when I do, and whatever time in the future it is, I'm not the 28 and 7 day durability of cookie tracking. That's all out the window. That stuff's gone. Okay. But if you create an incubated campaign with me, a persistent relationship that you're able to measure my engagement and eventually know that I converted at some point, you can sit down and look at the big board and go, well, they engaged with this versus that, and then there's an origin. There's an origin point. And that origin point is where you can say, that was a good move because we did that. And
because we found Lauren. We caught Lauren 3 years before his 60th birthday. Lauren decided at that point that Hawaii was going to be his 60th birthday travel destination. And we kept him engaged through that period to make sure that as he got closer and plans started cementing, we were considered so much because of our communication path that we booked Lauren.
Right. And because the Travelodge Waikiki South is next to the Denny's, he can get his Grand Slam and
I just want to know that Virgin Atlantic is going to have seats, at a more affordable rate for my 60s, because I'm thinking a little orbital thing might be pretty fun.
The value proposition for your actual time and space or being weightless
doesn't matter. Just want to see the curve of the horizon.
What do you mean the curve?
What are you talking about?
The Earth is flat.
You're right. I want to see where the water falls off. That's what I want to see.
There you go.
No, the water doesn't fall off, Lauren, because then there wouldn't be any water. It stays there.
It gets sucked under, and that's how you pump it up out of the ground.
How do you think geysers happen?
For me, I didn't know that was what was happening. I just
gravity.
No.
Keeps it from escaping.
Yellowstone National Park, there's a leak in the plumbing.
Thank you. And you know what? I thought today was a waste.
We educate on this.
Educate. That was education right there.
That's education.
Let's see. There were...
Let's go to the rut row because I'm going to end at 1. Lauren said he has to sneak out.
That sounds good.
Let's wrap up with a short and sweet.
The rut row was very simple this week. It has to do with hospitality.
It was a feel-good rut row. The little guy won.
Oh yeah, David whipped Goliath's butt on this one. The rut row is McDonald's, which has been around a long time.
I've heard of them.
A very powerful global brand. If you have not heard of them, does not have the trademark any longer in the EU. A little Irish group had a Super Mac, right? And McDonald's came in and tried to crush them. And unfortunately, the way their lawyers kind of, aggressively and arrogantly went after them really subverted their argument. So they can no longer trademark Big Mac in the EU, which is kind of
That's crazy.
a great.
It's
thing.
fantastic. First of all, don't mess with the Irish. First of all, secondly, don't be a bully.
Yeah,
right.
Walk in humble.
They went in as a bully. I actually had this just recently happen to a friend of mine who, through his name and through the fact that he has multiple business interests, has had a URL that evidently a large Australian retail brand had trademarked in the US. And so they sent him a very nasty, very threatening letter to turn over the URL. And so I happen to know quite a bit about how trademark laws work in the US and how copyright works in the US and everything. And I turned around and said to him, so in your response to them, you're going to let them know that since you have proved use over
prior
a
usage
decade prior to their company existing, and that you are now going to fight the validity of that trademark.
Absolutely.
And you won't be selling it to them. So and right. Oh, and by the way, the only reason I'm responding this way is because of the approach you took. Had you come nicely, I probably would have been willing to sell you the URL because I use it for my personal real estate holdings.
Yeah, exactly.
But at this point, just to put that out there, it'll be $50,000 for you to purchase this URL.
You should go higher than that.
And I believe we're at the point now where they've accepted and they're going to pay him that.
You should have started at 100.
Yeah, well,
or 250.
They weren't that big. It's a gym equipment retail brand.
Oh, okay.
I told you about the URL for Hotel Urbano, didn't I? I told you this story.
No.
Hotel what?
Oh, Urbano? Okay. So, little hotel in Brickell down in Miami. They named it Hotel Urbano. URBANO. Yep. Okay, so I bought the URLs, and at the time, one of the things I always do is I put the URLs in my personal name and privatize them and so forth, so that you can't follow the breadcrumbs of who owns what and things like this. Well, anyway, so it was under my name. So I get a call from somebody said, I represent an interest that wants to buy the URL, hotelurbano.com. We'll pay $100. And I said, I'm sorry, but that number one, it's in use for a hotel that my company is running and so forth and so on. And they said, so they knew that then I wasn't the actual owner at that point. So they chased down who owned the hotel. And I get a call from the ownership group. And they said, Lauren, I just got a call from somebody that says that they want to buy the URL for $500. I said, they offered me $100. And I said, he says, what do we, is it worth it? I said, oh, hell no. It's going to cost us a few thousand to convert everything over, the collateral, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, all right, I'll tell them no. And then he calls back 5 minutes.
Somebody probably wants this.
So then he calls back and he says, they just offered me $10,000. And I said, nope, still. He said, well, what are we worth? He says, I'm $1 million. He's like, okay, because to him, he's already like, this is no real big thing. He calls me 5 minutes later and says, if we're serious about the $1 million, they'll buy it. I'm like, what? Okay.
Yeah.
I said, then it's probably worth it for us to do that because I had other boxes of the
I'm sorry. Probably worth it. The hotel's real estate would struggle to probably hit that marker.
And that goes straight to the bottom line. That's not
right.
That goes right to the. So we laughed about it. It's like, oh my God, we were just joking, but okay. Turns out Hotel Urbano is the Expedia of Brazil.
Oh.
So they didn't own .com.
Oh my God.
I just happened to have owned it. They never boxed it, and ta-da! And so it's funny. It's like it was like the Berlin Wall, because I had lawyers from the ownership group. I had lawyers from the Urbano group. I had lawyers from the agency on both sides. I had 8 lawyers on a call as we're, all right, I'm transferring the funds now. Click. I'm sending you the reg key now. Click. It was like this, walk of steps.
Yeah, because you can't escrow that transition.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
So it was like this one step at a time kind of stuff. And Renee, my wife, was laughing. It's like, it's not enough for us to run away because it was in my name. For a brief moment, I was a quick millionaire.
That's awesome. I hope that owner keeps you on retainer for life because of that. For life,
the Carlisle Group, because it was like
Carlisle Group,
and it was $1 million. It was like They wanted to have that .com. Obviously, they were trying to grow and expand and so forth.
Right.
They had the BR already, so they just silly mistake, like that guy with Google. For one brief moment, he owned Google. You know.
Yep. And then he donated the money he got from them for it.
And the guy, whoever parked hotels.com, my understanding was that number was 11 million.
Wow.
Expedia
well, Holiday Inn too. Eventually, they
because again,
from the guy Niagara. HolidayInn.com.
Oh yeah. Budget.com for the car rental. Was
actually, a fun one is there's a Holiday Inn in Myrtle Beach that is not a Holiday Inn.
Really?
And they won that
prior
lawsuit.
Usage, yeah.
Again, goes back to when did it get owned? Because I've had those conversations before. They go chase down. We're trademarking. We're going to chase you down. And be like, okay, back up, Sunshine. First off, now I'm going to maybe make it where you can't do business in my market because I've actually been here first.
Don't be a jerk because the law protects me.
Yeah, I mean that's why.
And by the way, the backlash. All those laws, all trademark laws have that backlash that if the person who can prove earlier usage wants to, they can invalidate your entire trademark, even if it was awarded to you.
Right. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be in their same industry. That's the scary part. There could be clothing, you could be hotel, but because you challenged it, now you're the trademark for that term. They lose their entire opportunity to be under that term. Yep. And that's the thing. Is like, again, don't be a jerk. If you came like the guys around us, like, they came and just asked and $1 million. I mean, I don't think we would have gotten more than that, but that was a hell of a price tag, that they dropped it. So, but
and what I've seen is normally if you really be the jerk, try to put them down, you wind up paying 10x because I think that was what happened with Journey's End when they, again, a Myrtle Beach property, little dinky thing, but they wanted to get the U.S. mark, and these guys had prior usage, and they were smart enough to go, "What are you doing?"
Well, it goes with.
That's our name.
I've been in the room uncomfortably where the other agency, they've asked me to come in and help, and the other agency walks in like, they're in the right, and what the hell's this, and who's this other person? Only because they're being asked to come in because they're being told they're being let go. It's like, they start being these sphincters, and I'm sitting there going, please don't do that, please don't do that, because guess what? You're the one that's getting fired out of the room. I'm here to help them replace what you're not doing.
Well, fortunately, let's bring it back to the McDonald's thing. Fortunately for McDonald's, Eddie Murphy has already told them what they should name the Big Mac in Europe then, and it should be the Big Mick.
Yep, the Big Mick. Oh my God, that goes back. I love that. Yeah,
McDougal's from McDougal's.
McDougal's. That's right.
Big Mick.
Yeah, the Big Mick.
Yep.
Yeah, well, Hotel Urbano. HotelUrbano.com looks like it's just doing great
Expedia?
there.
I did have as one caveat.
Well, this was really Expedia. They're an online travel agency.
Yeah, they're online travel. Yeah, but I did ask that I left the redirect on their main page for 60 days as a part of the condition of it. That hey, for those who were already using, but we were only up for 6 months as a hotel, so we didn't really. I actually kind of regretted that I asked them to do that because I was getting hundreds of thousands of traffic numbers coming into my analytics because of this redirect where people are like, what do you mean Hotel Urbano? And they click over to it and it's like Miami and they're looking at Brazil.
And how did your bounce rate do during that period?
Oh yeah. I mean, the stats were not good for that time. I actually was like, that was just
99.9999999.
I know it was like, quarter second, like dink dink.
It's amazing.
Oh well. All right, so close to the top of the hour, gentlemen. Thank you very much, as always, for the opportunity and time to chit chat on this stuff. Mr. Robert, if people want to know more about you and Rock Cheetah, where is it they can find you, sir?
RockCheetah.com or at Robert K. Cole on social media. Or you can find me at Focusrite or at JD Power. So.
That's throwing names. Names.
Is it hey, wait, is it a coincidence that all of a sudden GM can't run their JD powered consumer commercial anymore since you came aboard? Because now all of a sudden Toyota's challenging it. I saw that new 4Runner that you posted in your social media that you bought. And I'm just putting those things together.
Fallen breadcrumbs.
No
comment.
Actually, what we're working on a thing for a mobile travel app, customer satisfaction usability across a variety of travel sectors, which I think will be very interesting for how the satisfaction of hoteliers versus, and I think it's all going to get produced as here's the way they do it is generally here's who won the hotel app, here's who won the car, but I'm very interested to see how these things track against each other on the functionality. You know.
And don't you think you need a J.D. Powers award for the best in consumer engagement? You know, X years running.
I feel like we deserve one.
Yeah, I think so.
Robert, can you just make one of those little, put a glue stand together and just give us a little J.D. Powers?
I probably, if I work on it, can get access to the graphics and some Photoshop.
I'm just, I think it deserves it.
It's going to be the Shady Power.
I don't. No, I think my agreement with them. Yeah, it probably doesn't have anything about misusing their marks. I can't imagine that would be.
Shame on them for not adding the 27 pages.
Besides that, Robert, whether you willfully or not do it, we're going to connect the dots anyway. That our dear friend Robert, who works for JD Power, and Ed just got a JD Power, and you don't even have to do anything. We just have to infer the combination, and we're good. So.
Yep.
I think some JD Power things are going to be rolling out here pretty soon. They look pretty close.
Just watch out, because I think you're going to start seeing Robert wearing Toyota badge.
I think
for himself.
Flip to as the leading Tonga-based time travel organization.
Yes,
really.
Actually,
in travel
those
marketing,
worlds, the Tonga worlds collided for me today. UCF is hosting a recruit who's originally from Tonga.
He's probably a big guy. I'm guessing.
He's a big guy, but
he's a lineman or something. Defensive lineman or offensive lineman, I would bet.
Yep. From
interior
Tonga.
lineman. Yes.
Yeah, they are the line.
Yeah.
Ed, if people want to know more about you and Flip2, where is it that they may find you, sir?
Flip.to or on social media, Edward St. Ange. And Mr. Gray, if people want to learn about the crazy things in your head, where should they go?
Well, my therapist might be helpful, but at hospitalitydigitalmarketing.com/live is where you'll find links to all the episodes of this and all previous 179 shows that we've had. And to Elfie, anybody wants to run into us in person, they can join us in New York City next week.
Except for me.
Not Ed.
You're not going to go?
No, I will be with my family in the Bahamas.
That's right.
Swimming with sea lions and pigs.
Yeah. Stuart's there. Robert's there. I'm there. Holly's there. Tim will be there.
Yep.
The whole game but you. Dang it.
It's my 11th anniversary and my mother's 60th birthday. So we decided to do a fun family trip.
Nice.
Very nice.
So you'll enjoy yourself by far.
We did that for our 40th anniversary and my wife or my mother-in-law's 80th birthday.
See? Look at that.
So it was very nice.
And
we're celebrating our 35th anniversaries.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah. Your wife is a saint for being with
me.
And
as I say, every morning I wake up when there's not a pillow being pressed over my face, it's going to be a good day.
Yeah, but first you have to look to see if it's just a cat laying on your face.
Exactly. Right? Yeah, it's the cat first.
Exactly.
But yeah, no. For those who may not know, we're referring to HSMAI's Digital Marketing Strategy Conference of 2019 is in New York City at the Marriott Marquis, January 23rd.
Speaking of cat.
There's
hey, speaking of which, we're coming up on the 200th episode.
Yeah.
I really feel like we need to get someone to put together a big deal for us on this. Like we'll all fly into somewhere, do it from that location. Maybe it's a big promotional thing. So if you're interested in sponsoring our 200th episode and flying all of us into one spot
contact us now
for an on-site.
That's an
be fun. Actually, to be honest with you,
we need to put our pecking order. I think the Maldives would be a good start. The Maldives, the Seychelles. I don't know. Yeah, maybe Australia. Gold.
Oh yeah. No. I'd be in for Australia.
Little Lizard Island. Yeah. So.
Well, it would be we're 76, so I mean that would put us into winter, right?
That's right.
When it would come up, which is summer for Australia.
Yeah, actually, Sydney this time of year is quite nice.
Yes. So if you're interested in hosting and sponsoring our 200th episode, which makes us the longest running video hospitality news show, on
Already
Lauren's URLs
And therapy session.
and
yes.
therapy sessions.
The therapy sessions.
It does require flying all of us in and putting all of us up. However, the coverage you'll get will be in the thousands.
Thousands. That's
It
true.
will be. Let's not over. There are dozens, perhaps dozens.
It will be 1,000 impressions.
as many as a dozen. Yeah, that's true.
Tens of thousands of impressions. I'll
Tens
even
of
boast
thousands.
that one out. Tens of thousands of
That's right.
impressions.
Lauren knows who to call on Fiverr. That's right.
You'll have
Give me
two,
a few minutes. We'll get those impressions rolling, folks.
you'll have two of the smartest people in the industry. We won't tell you who they are.
Yeah.
But they are one of the 6 hosts, regular hosts. I think we should. I think we should try.
It would be fun to kind of do something for it because the our 4 year is coming up in August now, but I think that's like show number 219 or 2 something or other. It's quite up there a ways, but I'll have to look what the 200th land. It's actually on the website. I already put the calendar dates down for.
Right. So let's figure out when the 200th episode is, and let's. We're actively seeking solicitation for sponsoring the location and the production of our 200th episode.
Yeah, if that's
I like the
80.
idea. I like it. All right. With that, gentlemen, thank you. And we'll do show number 181. We're going to do a live coverage. We're going to do live coverage on the 23rd. And then I'm just going to do a show number 181 on Friday. So, but we'll have live coverage on the 23rd where we'll be interviewing the people off the stage. And we'll have some fun next week. So for those
I think it might be May. It's in May. I think it's May
in May?
31st.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Look,
Orange County, California. It's good in May.
yeah. I actually, to be honest with you, Orlando doesn't seem like a bad idea.
Orlando's great in May.
Yeah. We all just got
I think we want to get more exotic. The Machu Picchu, maybe? I don't know.
Well, we do need
Easter
connectivity.
Easter Island.
We do
Oh,
need-
that's a good
we
point.
need data connectivity.
Yeah,
It is
we
a
do.
live show.
Yeah.
We'll have to call the Belmont guys and find out how their Wi-Fi is at
Yes.
the Sanctuary Lodge there.
Wi-Fi. I think that's a word that goes in the same sentence.
Well,
All right.
gentlemen, safe travels to New York.
Thank you. Well,
I
it's going to be
will
our
not-
Boastful. Yeah.
Be watching the show live at all.
for good reason.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Good
I will not be here next Friday. I don't think I'll be on the show.
You're going to be.
I'm
yeah,
going to
you'll
be
be
in
busy.
New York with my family.
Yeah.
So,
It's all right. Well, man, we'll do the live show, and then if anything, I'll do a recap show on 181. We'll be good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Gents.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Talk
Thank
to everyone
you.
next week.
bye.
Bye now.